Alright, so this is a NOVEDUCATION podcast.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to NOVEDUCATION. As always, I am your host, Noved. Thank you for tuning in. It is Monday, May the 9th, the day after Mother's Day. Hope everybody had a good weekend, safe Mother's Day. Happy late Mother's Day to all the mamas, babies, mamas. And an early happy Feliz Dia de las Madres. If you celebrate both days, good luck to you. But we here, May the 9th. Shout out to my boy Victor, at Victor93Till. Go follow him on Instagram. Shout out to the Dead Space ENT. We are going to be recording tonight. Follow us on YouTube. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, follow us. Subscribe, rate, review. It'll help us out. I know definitely we'll be talking about that. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We talk about some Moon Knight. And I know my boy Kendrick just dropped. Kendrick is back, ladies and gentlemen. Kendrick is back. But like I said, we can't talk about that all show. I wish I could. But we got a full show today. We got some fight recaps. I know that there's an upset we got to get to. Some NBA playoff news. You know, my takes on the playoffs right now. It's ramping up. And then we're going to talk about some fantasy implications. I know that people have been waiting on the fantasy talk. But today we are going to be doing the AFC North. So if you have any pull with the AFC North, listen in. Or if you're just a fantasy fan, there we go. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, shout out to Nikola Jokic, the Joker, for winning the MVP this season. I believe that's back-to-back. So this puts him in, it puts him in top category of centers all time. You know what I'm saying? I know not a lot of people are going to be happy without Giannis winning, but hey, you know what it is? It is what it is. Shout out, give props to the man. They're both, dominant forces in the league. I just think that, the Bucks, they're a better team and they can win a playoff game without Giannis, more than the Denver Nuggets. I believe I don't know if they can win a playoff game without Nikola Jokic. So shout out to the Joker. We had some fight nights this weekend. We had some big fights. First and foremost, Canelo losing to Demetrius Bevo. It was crazy, bro. So watching the fight, I remember watching the fight. Let me lower this. I'm sorry about that. Ladies and gentlemen. Watching the fight, we were watching it and we're watching it on our phones, right? We were streaming it, whatever. Fuck, whatever, man. It's a lot. Fucking, you're paying for, we pay for the UFC, come on, bro. It's too much right now, but motherfuckers is struggling. But we was watching it on the stream, so to see this motherfucker Canelo getting back down seemed a little bit tired in the end, like going towards the end. It was kind of weird, but ultimately Bevo did enough, man. He just kept that jab, that fucking jab. I know I didn't talk about it on the last episode, but I was talking about it with a couple of coworkers and shit, so they could back me up when I was saying that jab is going to be a problem for Canelo, in fights where Canelo's not the aggressor, where he's being backed down, he usually loses those rounds. You know what I'm saying? In the Triple G fights, he's lost a lot of rounds. When he's being the counter puncher, he's lost a lot of rounds. Go back to the Floyd, he's lost a lot of rounds. And I want to say when he was in the light heavyweight division before the light heavyweight weight class, he was fighting up against Kovalev. Do you remember that, Sergey Kovalev? And if you guys remember, I remember watching that fight in Vegas, and this fool, I had Canelo losing that fight. Like, I had him losing the rounds. If it wasn't for the knockout, Canelo would have to have done a lot to win that fight even. So going into this fight, Demetrius Bevo, another prime fighter around the same age, I believe they're both 31 or 32. But he looked good. Like, he looked really good going into this fight. He didn't have any like war stories pretty much, like as far as the resume as Canelo had. But his jab looked very nice. And I was watching his highlights. I hadn't seen him fight, but I was watching his highlights, and that jab was his best attribute, is what I could say. Going into this fight, it was going to be a problem for Canelo, but it's Canelo Alvarez. I think, if anybody, there's somebody you should trust as a fighter, it's him. You know what I'm saying? For him to come back, if he comes back, of course, I think he might still be the favorite, because he's always known to come back better than ever. And to see him lose, it was just weird. So, Bevo kept the combinations on him, kept touching him, lighting him up, Canelo looks sluggish towards the end, but I'm gonna say this, you still got to give props to where it's due. This man, Canelo Alvarez, is one of the greatest fighters we've ever had to see. You know what I'm saying? And if you're witnessing Canelo being the prime fighter right now, you're witnessing greatness because he has gone from every single weight class and cleared that bitch out. Every weight class plus every division, he's cleared all that shit out. He's been to the light heavyweight. He's won it. He went back down. So for him to going back up and putting on all that weight, I think that it did take a toll on him, but we do got to give Demetrius the Russian Bevo some like major credit. Major credit. He fought a good fight. His defense was nice. His combinations were nice. That jab was nice and strong. So he kept the pressure on Canelo even when Canelo was firing back. Canelo, for some reason, it was weird. Like in the first round, I seen Canelo, he was actually throwing hard shots, which was weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, because usually for Canelo to be the aggressor early in the rounds, that usually doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? He's usually more of the tactician. I'm going to give you the first two, and then we're going to go from there. So he came out throwing punches, throwing like pretty much hard bombs that I was seeing. And you see in the fucking picture of Bevo, his arm, I mean, it was all ratted up, but that wasn't going to matter. You know what I'm saying? He needed to land. So shout out to Demetrius Bevo, but props to Canelo for, risking it. You know what I'm saying? Going to that. You got to be great. So, props to Canelo. I saw that, Floyd bet on Bevo. Floyd, that's why Floyd is the greatest, man. He's you gotta, come on, he called that fight. You got to give the man his props. When I call something and it's right, by the way, I was undefeated in the top 3 UFC, just so y'all know. But when you call something and you hit, bro, if one of your takes hits, that's what's up. I always like to give props. So people who give props to me, that's what's up. So you got to give props to Floyd, bro, for calling that, putting that much money on it. So yeah, man, it is what it is. But back now, let's go to the UFC 274, man. All right, so you had the whole Donald Cerrone late pull. He got sick. Supposedly he got I believe it was a stomach infection or stomach flu that he ate some tacos. I don't know too much, but it sucked because I wanted to see Cowboy fight. It was dope, but to see in the press conferences that how happy he was and how good he looked, how in shape he was, his mind looked right. You know what I'm saying? And he was so excited for his son to see him fight. That when the news came out that day, it was kind of like, oh, like that fucking sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because it was going to be I think that fight would have been a better fight than what we had. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that news came out, and then you had the Shogun Rua versus OSP. OSP ended up winning that fight, and it was kind of a lackluster beginning to the main card. To the main event. Then you had the Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. At first on the podcast, I said that I'm going with Tony Ferguson. This was last week. Remember I said this? I said I'm going with Tony Ferguson. I think he's going to submit him, go back to his old ways of, playing it smart. And I said it's always subject to change. So on Saturday, be on the lookout on my social medias because I make changes on fight day. I put my picks in, and it always changes. So I ended up going with Michael Chandler, but I went with Michael Chandler in a decision because I thought that his how do you say it? Like his demeanor about him, his mind, his head where he was at, his body, his physique going into that fight, I felt like he was just ready. Of course he lost to Gaethje, of course he lost to Olivera, but I feel like Ferguson has been that type of fighter to where he's already put his heart out. You know what I'm saying? He's bled his heart out and he got beaten. I think that fucking fight against Justin Gaethje really fucked him up. Just going through the week, I'm like, you know what? Chandler looks good. So I chose Chandler. That was a crazy, crazy, crazy fucking knockout, man. One of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. We were watching it. That first round was fun because, Tony Ferguson, he's a fan favorite. And El Cucuy, and once he got taken to the ground, it was like, oh shit, I thought Chandler was actually going to get submitted. Michael Chandler proved that he is a tough top 5 opponent, that he's a top 5 opponent. He had some ground and pound. That ground and pound was pretty vicious, but then you saw, it didn't really faze El Cucuy too much, which, it probably did, but he's not going to show it. He's not going to tell you. So going into that second round, it looked like, he was trying to take him down. He had like more of a wrestler stance. If I'm wrong, correct me. But it looked like he had more of an open stance to where like he was ready to grapple. He was ready to dive. Chandler's kick, man, and then it's just lights out. It was you couldn't, the only other the kick I could think of like that was maybe the Pettis kick, the Silva kick, like the Masvidal knockout. Like those are some crazy fucking knockouts, man. But shout out Tony Ferguson. I hope he's doing okay. I know that he was going through some shit with the UFC. I don't really not too sure what it's about, but he felt like he was done dirty. That he was kind of used a little bit by the sport. So I hope he's okay, man. I hope he gets out of this. And yeah, man, go do something else. He wanted to go play like baseball. He wanted to go do other shit. So go do something else, bro. Like you're already a legend. You're solidified, bro. Go do something else. We respect your game. Then the second fight, which is the co-main event, Rose Namajunas versus Carlos Esparza. I had Carlos Esparza winning by submission. Again, it was another fucking pick that I changed from my podcast. So I got to start hitting a week before, But I had Carlos Esparza winning by submission. And like I said, another like lackluster fight. The fans didn't really, there's certain fights where you go in where there's fighters, they feel each other, and it's cool to see them feel each other because they're not just not throwing. They're not just not feinting. They're throwing, but it's slow. But this was not one of those fights. This is one of the fights where Carlos Esparza did not want to get hit, and Doug Rose did not want to get taken down. So the first 2 rounds, they were kind of just like, we're joking around that, the jab that Namajunas jab won her the first 2 rounds. That one jab she landed, I felt Carlos Esparza in the end of the second round did pretty good. And then the third round, you could go either way. I had Carlos Esparza. It was close. It was more of a draw for me. But in the moment, I feel like when you found out that Rose lost by unanimous, was it unanimous? I'm not sure if it was unanimous, but that Rose lost, people were surprised. But I went back and looked at it and I was like, okay, like it could have gone either way. It could have definitely gone either way. But Rose, I felt like she had to be more of the aggressor. You know what I'm saying? I felt like she needed to prove that, hey, I'm still the champ. I can still do this. And it didn't really happen for me. We were joking about that too. It's like, yeah, she should have been stripped instead of Charles Olivera, but yeah, so it wasn't a good look on her. But not that Carlos Esparza pulled off the biggest, like the upset, you know what I'm saying? But it was very close. It was closer than what people thought. So Carlos Esparza, that pick was correct on my part. You know what I'm saying? That pick was correct on my part. And then going into the main card, the main event, the main fight, the quote unquote title fight, vacant title fight. I ended up sticking with Charles Oliveira. I just think that he was just too dangerous. And you've seen it in the fight. You've seen it, what happens. You've seen his skill. I saw more head movement. I don't know if you saw that, but that's what I was looking for. I saw a little bit more of head movement. I saw his straight, bro. That motherfucker has people were saying like, oh, stop disrespecting Oliveira's punching. I think it just recently been getting like that because that straight that knocked Gaethje down, it was a nice straight down the fucking pipe. And Gaethje did not expect that, you know what I'm saying? And you see him when he knocked out fucking Michael Chandler with that left hook, that left check. So I think, it is time to start putting some respect on his stand-up game because his stand-up game is what basically won him the fight. You know what I'm saying? So I went with Olivera. I thought Gaethje had a good chance, but I knew once he went to the ground, it was going to be over. So when he took him to that ground that first time, you seen it. You seen the fishing, the fake knockdowns to where Oliveira gets hit. And I think he does get hit. I think he gets hit and he gets hurt. I mean, and I think it does hurt him. And he goes, fuck this shit. I ain't even, let me go on my back. Come down with me, my boy. Gaethje did a good job of saying, no, fuck that. Get the fuck back up. Cause he didn't want to tussle in there. So he did that a few times. And of course it didn't work against Gaethje, but it was dope to see. So it's like the strategies of the different fighters. Like it was dope to fucking see. Like if you're not a fight fan, you probably go, oh, he got knocked down. Like, and then you gotta let fans know, like, hey, this is not boxing. You know what I'm saying? This is a strategy that he's doing. So that was beautiful. So ultimately, that's what I thought would have won him the fight. But that straight won him the fight. Just down the fucking pipe, bink, down the fucking pipe, dropped Gaethje down, and ultimately went on top of him. He tried to get him in I believe I don't know what it is, but he tried to get him in the choke the first time, didn't get it, and then he took his back. Gaethje tried to roll over, but then Olivera took his back, and once he took his back, he had the head locked in, the fist and the elbow. I'm not a fucking jiu-jitsu guy, but he was choking him out, and at the moment he fucking tapped, I was so fucking happy because of what had happened the day before with Charles Olivera, man. He got stripped of his belt basically, and it was crazy to see Bruce Buffer go, the former lightweight champion of the world. Like, that was crazy. So I know he went to Dana White and he was like, he started saying something, and Dana said, if I read his lips, like, he said, I know you made weight. I know you made weight. And then at the end of that press conference, in the post conference, he said, like, yeah, he didn't make weight and those are the rules, which is crazy. Whatever. I mean, Dana White has been known to say some things like that. But of course, there was supposedly a story going on that there was tampering with the scales, that fighters, they go the night before or day before and they fuck with the scales, to kind of see where they're at, I guess. I say, conspiracy theory, the dude who was fucking doing the weights, on the scales, weighing him, I think he was in on it too, because his face was too like half a pound, 155.5. I was like, it's a little fishy, but so that that moment to see fucking Charles Olivera walk across the ring like a fucking champ he is, bro. That was dope to see. That was really dope to see. But so what do you think next? What do you guys think is next for Gaethje, for Chandler, for Oliveras? I know in June they just announced that big fucking fight, that fight week fight with Adesanya. What do you think is next for Olivera? No, like, people are screaming Islam Makhachev, like, that's the fight, and I do think that's the fight. I'm not opposed to that, but there's a lot of people who still want to see Dariush, fight for that title, get that chance, or maybe Dariush versus Makhachev. If I'm the UFC, that's probably the way to go right now, Dariush versus Makhachev, because they were supposed to fight before when Bobby Green stepped in, and I don't know what happened. I guess it was an injury, but so yeah, I do think that, Dariush versus Makhachev is the fight because, to be the next contender, but that bout is vacant. And there's going to be enough noise to where even like Joe Rogan had said Dana White said that Joe Rogan stopped him and said, yeah, you need to make the Makhachev versus Olivera fight. And I'm all for that, man. I'm all fucking for that. They have similar styles. I think more Islam is more of a power where he puts his weight on you more. And Oliveras is more of a sneaky assassin. So that could be a good fight. We all thought that the Tony Ferguson versus Khabib fight, that never happened. We all thought that was going to be the greatest fight ever, the greatest matchup ever. This is a fight that has definitely in the running for that. And I'm curious to see what happens. What do you guys think? Dustin Poirier is still there. I would like to see Chandler versus Dustin Poirier, even though he called Conor McGregor out and he said he's going to go to 170. I think Chandler, okay, yes, go take it. Go take the money fight. 170, whatever, if you want to go do that. But I think Dustin is right damn there. He's on the shelf right now. Give Dustin another shot at the running. And, Gaethje, who just lost, he didn't really get too hurt, so there's a lot of moving parts that are going on right now. So if I had to say what the path is next, I do say it's Olivera versus Islam. And then I say it's Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. You know what I'm saying? Because news is that Conor isn't even fully healthy yet. You know what I'm saying? He's just working out, but he's not in fight training camp mode yet. So we'll see how that goes. What do you guys think? Let me know. Comment on the comment down below. What do you think's next for Esparza? Do they run it back? And what do you think's next for Canelo? So back to now we're on to the NBA playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. NBA playoffs. Shout out, like I said, shout out to Nikola Jokic for winning the MVP. We have Miami tied apiece with Philly at 2. We have Phoenix tied with Dallas at 2 apiece. Then we have Milwaukee up on Boston 2-1. Then you have Golden State up on Memphis 2-1. It's exciting. It's getting very, very exciting right now. My boy James, shout out to Pete Top Kevin Bottom from the Fight to Life Fantasy Football League. He says Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. Oh no, wait. My boy James, most dope James, he says Heat are soft and Jokic deserved MVP. Ask who you got winning in the NBA Finals. He said in the East, the Bucks go all the way, my guy. Giannis is the best player. And in the West, he has Golden State. So That's that's my boy Denmonger's picks. He has I believe Golden State and Milwaukee. Hey man, it very well could be. It very well could be. I think Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee takes it. Unless Philadelphia finds a way to turn it up like they did last night and win convincingly. If Harden can fucking keep that heat check on, if the masked Embiid can keep the dominance going, I think that they do have a shot up against Milwaukee. They're probably the best team in the East to have this shot. Boston, if they win tonight, they play tonight, right? I believe. Let me check it out, man. Yeah, Boston versus Celtics. If they win tonight, it could very well be. It could go to 7 games, but I don't know. I'll take Milwaukee in this series. Then we also have the Grizzlies versus the Warriors. Look, man, it is dope to see Memphis and Golden State go at it. I don't like the flagrant call fouls, whatever. A foul's a foul, whatever. I don't like them too much, but it is playoffs. The stakes are amped up. They're higher. To see Steph Curry and, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and the Golden State Warriors come back to full shape, full form from where they were. People thought that they would never be the same, that they would stay in the rebuild situation. I didn't necessarily think that, but I think once after, the injuries, then they had that down season, I think that they would always come back because Steph is that type of player who can pull a team. You know what I'm saying? They can pull a team. So it's good to see them play well. It's good to see Memphis playing well. John Morant, he's a fucking beast. He is injured, I believe. I don't know how many games he's going to be out. John Morant, his status is day to day. So, that's a big one. That's a big one. If John Morant cannot come back this series, I don't know if Memphis can do it. They're already down 2-1. So I don't know if Memphis can do that. So my boy David Dominguez, of course, he has his boy Giannis winning. Like I mentioned, like I said, he goes, Giannis is back-to-back champions all the way. Hey, man, like I said, it could very well happen. I got Philadelphia beating the Heat because I do think that the Heat they're not kind of soft, but, they're depending on calls to go their way. And it looks like Harden is heating up. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia there. Who do you guys got that series? Suns, Mavericks. Who do you guys got that series? That series is going to be tight. It's tight at 2 apiece. Chris Paul got into some fucking foul trouble his last game. And, you seen the joke to where what's his name? Luka Doncic, he acted out that foul, but it is what it is. This is the game, man. This is the game today. And I think Luka's one of the best. He has a chance to take this series. And if he takes this series, I think that they can go up against Golden State and Memphis. But if Memphis is playing well, great team ball. But I think there's something about the Dallas Mavericks that where they can pull it off, they can be the underdog. They've always been the underdog pretty much their whole, the whole franchise has been an underdog. But I think that they can pull it off. I'm pulling for Dallas to win it all now. My brackets is fucked up already, so it don't even matter. So I'm pulling for Dallas. I think I want to see Luka win one. If Luka wins one, just like, Jokic needs to win one, they will be mentioned in that greatest of all time category. Not greatest of all time, but in that greats category. I can't do it without at least one ring, but I really want Luka to win. Who do you guys got winning the Suns, Mavs? Who you guys got winning Suns, Mavs? Who do you guys got winning tonight versus Grizzly Warriors? Who do you got winning between Celtics and Bucks? NBA playoffs is here, man. I can't wait for this shit. It's going to be tight. So we got some NFL news. Let's see what we got in the NFL. I don't think we have too many NFL news, too much. The Ravens were interested in free agent Jarvis Landry. Yeah, that should be a good move. That'll be a good move. I know there was talks about him going to New Orleans possibly because, the go back home type of thing, I think Jarvis, I'm a Saints fan, and if the Saints pick up Jarvis, I'm not going to be mad about it, but I'm not going to be too ecstatic about it. You know what I'm saying? I think we're good right now, exactly where we're at. And the Ravens, they just let go of Hollywood Brown. They need another type of big play guy, you know what I'm saying, who could get the deep ball. So I think that'll be the best fit. My boy Victor, he's the one that called that. So I think that would be a cool addition to the Ravens, who I think are going to be a solid team. The 49ers staff has been continuously underwhelmed by the second-year quarterback Trey Lance. Hey, man, when you don't play for a whole season and then you're in talks of trades and you're saying, oh, you could be the guy, and then there's rumors going around, for a young player, it's going to get to your head. Do I think he has the talent? Yes, of course. But the underwhelming part is, hey, it's early in the season. If you're a Niners fan, don't fucking worry about it right now. You don't know what's going on. And if you have Trey Lance in your fantasy squad, chances are he's probably not going to play. They're not going to get too much what they want out of Jimmy G. So why not keep him? He's too expensive to sell, So, I think they're going to go Jimmy G again. But underwhelming, I think, okay, I understand that they are underwhelmed by him, but it's still early in his career, still early even before the season. And they definitely didn't draft a quarterback to take his spot, So if he's the guy, I think he'll be all right. He's going to go through that learning curve, but it's just too early to call that underwhelming thing, The Giants released James Bradbury, which is weird because I know that they were trying to trade for him and no one has traded for him. So for him to be released, I think he's going to be picked up right away. A couple teams I think he can go to, the Patriots, I believe. I think he can go to the Chiefs. The Chiefs will be a good addition for him. He's a good corner, bro. He's one of the better corners in the league. I know he would always stop the ones on every team. I don't know what was going on over there in Giantsville, but shout out to my boy Manny Rogue One Lunchbox. Let me know what's going on there in Giantsville. And I think that's it for the fantasy. For the NFL news, pretty much. Other than just other rumors, I think the rumors about Baker Mayfield, all that shit. It's not really too many big news right now. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the fantasy implications. The AFC North. All right, so the Ravens, who I just talked about. If you got Lamar Jackson, I think you're pretty safe in this draft. Their draft, what they did, they went very offensive line, defensive line heavy. They traded away Hollywood Brown. They did not go up for a big time receiver. So what that tells me, the winners on this team are J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and Lamar Jackson. They're going to go run heavy. They like that run heavy offense, that pistol offense. Harbaugh is known for having a beautiful run scheme, and especially with a quarterback like Lamar. I think you should be happy drafting J.K. Dobbins a little later. I know people are going to, they're not going to be high on him because of his injury. And Gus Edwards is still there, and they really liked him. They just signed him. So I think that, but I think it's a nice fit for this offense. Another winner, I believe, is Rashad Bateman. He could be a deep sleeper to where he could win you some weeks. Obviously, they're not going to be throwing the ball too much, so the touchdown counts will be down for Rashad Bateman. From last year, he didn't play a full season, but hold on. Apologize. Last year, he didn't play a full season, so I think you should expect, the targets to be there, but the touchdowns are probably not going to be there. They're going to be more run scheme. Mark Andrews, he's safe. I think he even if you're a tight end in a run scheme offense or in a pass-heavy offense, you're going to be all right. If you're a good tight end like Mark Andrews, you talk about Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, I think you'll be all right no matter what scheme you go to do it. So, but the big winners for the Ravens for me is Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, and J.K. Dobbins. So if you have a J.K. Dobbins and the person in your league is trying to trade for him, I think you should trade for him. I think J.K. Dobbins is good, and we just seen how people come back, young players come back from their injuries. You know what I'm saying? Cam Akers he did pretty well. That offense, they had 3 running backs, so don't be scared about the fantasy numbers. We're about to see how Travis Etienne comes back. There's news that's saying that he's the guy, but we'll see what happens. So things will be looking up for J.K. Dobbins, I feel. If you have anybody who wants to trade for him, I think you should do it. I think you definitely should do it. But all right, now the Pittsburgh Steelers, bro. Look, I've for the past few seasons, I've been in love with the Pittsburgh Steelers like fantasy value. I think that Pat Freiermuth is a great addition. A great addition from last season. He got a lot of looks in his belt. And this year, he's going to be one of the sleepers tight ends I think you should put your hands on. They picked up what's his name? Mitchell Trubisky. And then they just drafted Pickett. Is it Josh Pickett? Jeremy Pickett? I forget his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's a quarterback. And I think that the winners on this team are Deontay Harris and Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris. They're going to be good fantasy value because, Deontay Johnson, he can get it done. He's the type of player, it doesn't matter what quarterback is throwing to him. I think he can still get it done because of his size and how he is played on that offense. He gets most of the targets. He's a target hog, and he has fucking hands. I don't know why people don't think Deontay Johnson has hands. I think he's the best receiver in that division. Me personally, I know a lot of people are like, Jamar Chase, what the fuck? But I think that he is the best. He's the best receiver, pure receiver in that division. And they only got better. Even with Mitchell Trubisky going in, I thought that he was still going to be all right. You know, you had the Mitchell Trubisky season with Allen Robinson, and he was always a top 15 wide receiver, and you need that in fantasy, you know, that consistency, the targets, completions. I think it was going to be a little bit more, if not better than that with Mitchell Trubisky. Now you got a young quarterback who's going to come in the game, and the offense that he's in, it's I think it's pretty much perfect for him to be in. They fixed some offensive line stuff. You know, they fixed some defensive stuff. Najee Harris is going to be saved. They didn't really go after a big running back. So if you're a Najee Harris manager, I am. I think it's going to be another similar season. But the touchdowns might go down. The touchdown looks will probably go down. But another year under his belt, he's a bad motherfucker. He has all the intangibles to be a solid number one in the league. And I think he's safe. Chase Claypool, you know, I think he pretty much stays the same. There's no, he didn't go down or up. I mean, of course, it's another season under his belt where he needs to actually prove that he could do it for fantasy managers. But big playability, big guy. He gets hurt a lot, but he still has that Mike Williams reputation. If he can turn it on, people believe in him enough. If he can turn it on, he's going to be a fucking fantasy winner. So if you like Chase Claypool late in the rounds, you didn't pick up Deontay, I think that Chase Claypool is nice, but later. So fantasy winners on this team, I think are Pat Freiermuth, Deontay Johnson, and Najee Harris because they're safe. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Now we have the Bengals. The Bengals coming off of a great season. You know, they were the hottest team in the NFL last season. They just pretty much got better. I think the people who are safe are Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. I think they are the safest. I know that they pick up their tight end. Is it Hooper? I believe they picked up Hooper. I'm not sure, but the tight end, you know, the position was all right. You know, Uzama was a touchdown maker for him. So I think that, you know, the looks that went to Uzama is not going to go to the tight end this season, but you're safe because you have Jamar Chase, another year under his belt. Of course, the chemistry is there with Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is one of the biggest winners coming out of the draft because he just amplifies his gameplay. I think he's probably ends up maybe the best quarterback in that division, even with Deshaun Watson being there. But I think he's the safest play. Jamar Chase, like I said, T. Higgins is going to be nice. I think T. Higgins is a big sleeper. I said this season, I think I'm going to go after T. Higgins because people forgot about him. Before Jamar Chase was there, you know, T. Higgins was the guy. He was getting all the touchdown reps. He was getting all the targets, all the third down reps. And, you know, he's a big guy who can do it. He's still young, so he's familiar with the offense and Joe Burrow. And he got overshadowed last year by the rookie sensation, Jamar Chase. People are definitely going to be sleeping on him because he was injured a little bit last season. I'm going after T. Higgins everywhere. I think T. Higgins is a fantasy winner. He's the biggest winner here. Yes, if you can get Jamar Chase early, go get Jamar Chase early. This is not that campaign. I'm just saying, I think if you don't get Jamar Chase, you are still safe with T. Higgins. So fantasy winners on the Bengals is Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon is nice. I think he's still gonna have that powerhouse value. But people, you know, it's you know, they got the backlash from him. You know, last season was probably his best season, but he still has that stigma for me. If Joe Mixon is there in the later rounds where I can pick up a running back or I need a running back, I would be happy with him, but I'm not going to be actively going for him. So he's not necessarily a winner, but not necessarily a loser either. So Bengals, they're going to be a fun team to watch next season. Very fun team. Last team I'm going to talk about is the Cleveland Browns. I think fantasy winners right now for the Browns are Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper and Kareem Hunt are the winners on this team. If Cooper can stay healthy all season, he's definitely one of the greatest assets to that team because of his veteran skills. He's still young. He's still not. People say he's an old veteran, but he's still got the young. He's still spry. I've seen it a few times last season, but He's that tactician that you want in your team to run those fucking short routes, in routes, fade routes. He could catch the ball. He's a big guy. I think he's the winner on this team, man. I'm definitely going to try to go after him in fantasy leagues. Will I be trading for him in Dynasty? I mean, I'll probably send an offer. It'll probably get declined. So if someone's offering you Amari Cooper, weigh it out. You ask me, who would I rather have, Amari Cooper or T. Higgins? I think I'll go Amari Cooper only because that he's the guy there. He's the number one there. So I'll go Amari Cooper. Kareem Hunt is one of the biggest winners here. Yes, I know people say, what about Nick Chubb? It's just, I think that with Deshaun Watson, the addition of Deshaun Watson, his ability to move out the pocket, extend the play, I think the dump offs are going to be there for Kareem Hunt because they use him as that satellite back. I think Nick Chubb is going to be cool. He's not going to have the best season like he did 2 seasons prior, but he'll be safe. But I think it's more of a downgrade for him. I think it's more of a loss for him with the addition of Deshaun Watson. But the touchdown value will still be there because they still want to, push that run team. So not to say that Nick Chubb's not going to be a top 20, but I don't think he's going to be like a top 5 running back. Maybe it'll be 18, 16 right there. We'll see what happens though, because I do think Kareem Hunt is a very, very big winner this time. So so who do you guys think is the best team overall in this division? The best team overall in this division has got to be the Bengals right now. Simply because of the chemistry, and they went to the Super Bowl last season, and they did nothing but win in the draft. So same team coming back, same formula. I think they're all right. Second place team, I think the Steelers can do it, but they still got to mold the quarterbacks in. Ravens, if they add Jarvis Landry, then I'll give it to them. I think that the Ravens are the best team with Jarvis Landry, but they don't have him right now, so I can't. And then I'll have Browns at the last. You're still gonna be out with Deshaun Watson for a few games. It's gonna be a new type of offense, so things are not gonna be clicking as well. But I'll say the best team right there is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think this is it. This is all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Please subscribe, follow, rate, review. Hook me up with ideas, some of your takes. What do you want to know? What do you want to see? What do you want me to talk about? Pretty much talk about anything, man. And that's it. Hope everybody has a safe week. I will be doing another show. I believe it should be out on Thursday, so be on the lookout for that. The Dead Space Entertainment show episode should be out by tomorrow. So let me know what y'all think, man. Thank you for listening. I appreciate y'all, every one of y'all, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Education Podcast.